Hey there friends and welcome to LaughNapkin. My name is Frank, and today we'll be checking out the subreddit r/ProRevenge with a short bonus story from a mystery subreddit if you make it to the end. If you're new around here and enjoy these Reddit stories, be sure to subscribe for future videos. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Big shout out to just some Bigfoot with internet access for the comment of the day. This first story comes from user Quiet Thunder. This story begins almost a year ago. I received a call from an unknown number on my cell phone. It was an automated message to call an 888 number in regards to serving me papers. I knew right away this may have been a collection agency. Googled the number and confirmed it. Now, I have to disclose I did have identity theft almost 20 years ago. To this day, I occasionally get calls from collection agencies trying to collect on some debt from 20 plus years ago that was cleared. Now, most of the time when I get these calls, I ask for their address to send in a dispute letter, including the accompanying data for proof that I had identity theft. Granted, they should not be calling me, but they apologize and I don't get another call. Plus, they usually mail me back and said they closed the account. Well, I go to call this person, and I gotta say, the call was interesting. The woman answered and I gave her my information. She started rattling off a debt that was back in 1995. I let her finish and told her that I had no knowledge and there was identity theft. And as soon as I said that, she freaked out. She kept saying she knew the debt was mine, and I'm going to pay. I kept telling her that I wanted to mail a letter, but she flat out refused. When I told her I knew my rights, she said that I had the right to pay the debt. She then said that she's gonna put a lien on my huge, pretty house. Her words. And she was describing the house to the letter. She also said she's gonna put a lien on my Lexus that she sees in the driveway. And she said that my gate in the front won't stop the repossession. She then hung up. Now, I knew better. All she did was get my info from public records and then saw my house on Google Street View. My guess is that she tried to push this intimidation on other people that didn't know better. So far, it appeared to be a very disreputable company. I also had phone recordings when I called in, and they were legal as I asked her if phone calls could be recorded for quality control purposes. She said of course, and I said thank you. I'll take that as my consent. I would have just let this go and just say this lady was crazy. But I kept getting the automated phone calls and I couldn't block them as they were unknown. I googled the company and I thought they were in Ohio. A couple of flags that led me to believe this was that the person who owned this company in Ohio was being indicted with charges whom was an attorney. I placed a complaint with the Ohio Attorney General. They couldn't find any information on what I was submitting. They did call the number I gave them, and the Attorney General told me that they would stop them from calling me. But that's all the Attorney General could do. I also complained to the Federal Consumer Finance Bureau, whom is supposed to be looking into these issues. But they blew me off. Well, 3 months later, I called this number. I had an idea of maybe pressing buttons when I called in to see if I could get more information about the company through the IVR. Well, that paid off. As soon as I pressed 0, I got a different company name. I googled that company and got tons of complaints. This led me to the company existing in New York. I complained to the Attorney General of New York with all of my info. I'd done quite a bit of research over the next couple of weeks and found out a whole bunch of information, such as the owner. I found out that the address where the company no longer received mail was at the owner's address, their Facebook account, etc. I then got another one of those unknown phone calls, but this time it's a different company. I'm sure you get what I'm getting at. The company just keeps changing the name, but the parent company still calls. I finally had enough of this. I get a private investigator involved, and they were quite satisfied with all the information I got so far. So I let him do his business. Well, he calls me back saying that this company isn't even registered, and it's ran by this one lady. I find out the rude lady whom I was talking to is the supposed owner, but not running a legitimate business. I got a process server to file a claim in New York. Granted, I think I could have done it where I was at, but I was heading up to that area in New York anyway, as I had some family reasonably close. Problem was, she was not able to be served. The house which she owned, she was not able to be served at. Either she was not there or was staying somewhere else. Well, my private investigator started sending out friend requests to her and the people in her friends list. Well, her friends and then she accepted the Facebook request. My private investigator found out that she cheated on her boyfriend about a month ago since she posted that crap. The private investigator gave me an idea of trying to reach her boyfriend, and if he could lead us to serve her, I'll give him $500. Well, we did that, and sure enough, we were finally able to serve this lady at her parents' house about 20 miles from where she was at. I fly up to New York, and since it's small claims, it's just me and this lady. For some reason, her mother is there too, but she's not representing. I give the judge all of my info I had over the months and how she broke the law. She broke debt collection law and threats over the phone. After the judge heard all the trouble I had with these calls and how she hid her identity purposely, the judge gave me the maximum amount of $3,000. In New York, small towns and villages are limited to $3,000. After the case, I heard her mother loudly whispering, but I heard it. "You better hope he doesn't take your house. Your great-grandfather built this with his own bare hands." I was thinking, it would be sweet revenge if I could actually put a lien on the house. Well, lo and behold, I found out the house had a second mortgage attached to it. With the property value of the house, and if it sold, I wouldn't end up getting the lien money since the secondary mortgage was almost as much as the house. I was then contemplating how I was going to get the money from this lady. My private investigator calls me 5 months later and said her house is going into foreclosure. I get a proxy to bid for me, but as in most foreclosure actions, the bank buys it back as an REO. I decided to send in a lowball offer to buy the house a couple months later. The bank accepted my offer. My guess is that it's a small town and trying to get the right market was an issue. You may be wondering why I even bought this house. Well, here's why. This chick threatened to put a lien on my house with no merit. Well, guess what? I effing took her house. It was completely worth it. It didn't cost me too much, and I had the money. The house is actually in decent shape, just a little small, but it'll be a nice summer home when I go to visit my relatives. Oh, and I decided to rub in salt to the wound. I sent a letter to her parents' address letting them know I took the house. I told them that if her daughter wouldn't be in the business of scamming people, they may not have lost the house. I also got to find out that the Attorney General of New York is now investigating this lady. I hope they throw the book at her. Not going to mention the collection agency, but if you stop getting phone calls from them, you're welcome. OP is such a savage in this story. All of that work just because of a few half-assed threats and phone calls? He's the superhero we all need. And speaking of automated phone calls, am I the only one that gets like 5 or more a day and it's always some kind of scammer? I swear it's getting out of hand. Hit that like button if you want to throw a taco at these annoying scammers. And it's bonus story time, coming in from the highly requested subreddit r/stories about Kevin. So get ready to lose a few brain cells. This story comes from user Skatentokter? I don't know how to pronounce that, sorry guys. And it's called Kevina Thinks She's Bilingual. Austrian here. My sister used to take in couch surfers from all across the world. Most were lovely fellas with interesting stories to tell. But one time, we hit the jackpot. We got a set of 4 American stereotypes, the ones that I used to think were only real in movies. And one of them was an airheaded cheerleader who was one hell of a pain. Since they're not relative to the story, I won't go into detail about how rude and obnoxious Kevina behaved during the days leading up to the event. But let me tell you, at this point, even her friends were done with her. It's New Year's Eve. The couch surfers decided to stay with us instead of going out to the city. And my sister and I go about our New Year's celebration the same way we always do. Having fondue, dancing to the Blue Danube, and watching Dinner for One. Midnight comes and goes, and within less than 5 minutes, Kevina takes her laptop to the other room to video call her parents, leaving the door open. And off she goes, complaining loudly about how my sister and I are embarrassing as fuck. Literally how she pronounced it. How that Australian food we had sucked. As much as I would love to claim fondue for our cuisine, the French would likely be opposed. How the mountains look fake and whatnot. My sister and I were in the living room with the others, perfectly able to hear every single word, while her friends turned red as tomatoes and started giving us apologetic looks. Cue Kavina's return, marching into the living room with the carefree attitude of the ignorant dummy. Kavina's friend, Kavina, we all heard you. All of us. Kavina, so what? I was talking American. My sister and I just looked at each other and started laughing so hard, it took us a few minutes to calm down. She had been talking to us every single day in English, but somehow that was different in Kavina's world. Her friends apologized profusely. Kavina did not, because she just couldn't believe, even when we told her that yes, we do understand American. This is mind-blowing, but so freaking funny. Have you met someone this dense before? Let me know in the comments below. And that brings us to the end of today's video. I hope you had an amazing time. And if you liked this video, hit that thumbs up. And if you don't like this video, hit that thumbs down. And if you're new to my channel and had a good time, go ahead and subscribe for future videos. And I'll see you guys in the next video.